Friendly
Figure it out,
voice.
you fucking idiot.
How bummed is he?
How bummed is Suno?
Intern Logan.
Oh, he's not happy.
Did you watch any of that game?
Yeah.
What happened? I heard it was a game of runs.
Not they just don't have enough offense, really.
I think
It's
the
like-
Cavs are
and-
playing like right now.
I'm watching it.
What's the score?
49-37 Cleveland. LeBron's tearing it up. He's going to go for like 80 today.
Yeah, absolutely. He is, dude. He's like throwing up triple doubles with 44 points, and they're winning by 2. And he's hitting buzzer
Tristan-
beaters to do it.
Tristan Thompson's dominating right now.
Yeah, he's
All I hear-
dominating Chloe's ass. That's what he's.
I don't
doing.
even get like why people are upset about him cheating on her. Like that seems like legit person that should be cheated on.
It's a Kardashian, man. There's gonna be
Exactly.
It's gonna be a train wreck to that.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I don't have anything else, so let's get loaded.
Give me a hoe if you got your funky bus fare.
Welcome to the Loaded Dog Podcast.
But we never finish first because we finish last.
I can't wait till you hear that one. This is the Loaded Dodge Podcast, and I am Ben Morgan, and that is DJ Primo, and we are here to recap the 2018 NFL Draft. How do you think that went, DJ, in general? I mean, kind of after the third, fourth round-ish, it was a kind of a weak class. Like, it wasn't as deep as I really thought it was.
I don't know. I thought it was okay, and maybe I missed something, but how I thought that Equanimous St. Brown or whatever was like a top 10 wide receiver in this class.
Some had him there, but when we had John Valencia on from Breaking Football, he didn't have him in his top 10, but he fell to you.
He fell in the 6th round
Yeah.
to the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
So when I saw that name, I was like, wait a second, I thought he was drafted 3 rounds ago.
No one wanted to go through the introductory press conference having to announce that dude's name. That's why he slipped.
Equanimous. I actually looked it up this morning and had one of those little voice things that pronunciates things so I could say it. Equanimous.
If his name was John St. Brown, first
John
rounder.
Yeah, I don't know. I was confused. I'm like, wait, is he going to be good on Green Bay? Am I overly excited about it? So I'm just going to temper expectations.
What are you grading the Green Bay Packers draft at this point? Instant
was-
reaction.
Through the first 3 rounds is an A, easy.
Ooh,
But then they
easy
drafted
A. Good movie.
Then they drafted a punter and a long snapper, and they probably got down to about a B.
If you're gonna draft one, you draft the other. You pair that kind of stuff. That's a.
Apparently, they drafted a punter in the 5th round before Equanimous.
I love that name. I have no idea if you're saying it right or not, but I love it.
Equanimous, it is, I guess.
Equestrian St. Brown. Well, anyways, this is the Loaded Box
Wonder what that
Podcast. We are recapping the 2018 NFL Draft. Obviously, the highlights are going to be on the first couple of rounds because those are the big names, the big quarterbacks, the big fantasy people that we're going to end up talking about as we move through the offseason and into fantasy season. So let's kick it off with a little day one. Obviously, first pick of the draft being
Exciting day.
held by the Cleveland Browns, and they took Baker, the touchdown maker, Mayfield. So I'm going to let you rip him before I give Browns fans reason.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm going to let you rip
Well-
him, and then I'm going to bring the Browns fans back up.
Okay, well, as I've said from the beginning, I think he's going to be a huge bust for so many reasons. I've gave my analysis on him. Most of you already know if you've been a long-time listener. I think this is a terrible pick. They should have went Sam Darnold. I can't believe that they didn't. Like, as far as ceiling and floor go, Sam Darnold's probably got the highest floor and lowest floor and highest ceiling. I don't know.
I get what you're
I don't even
saying.
know how the fuck that works.
The ceiling
Less
is the
chance of
roof.
being a bust and best chance of being a star. And I can't wait to be right on this one, but it's like, what are they going to do when Tyrod takes the Browns to the playoffs this year? He's just taking teams to the playoffs for the first time in millions of years. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? You know what's going to happen? Tyrod's going to do pretty good. They're going to bench him. Fucking Baker Mayfield's going to come in and throw 5 interceptions, and Tyrod's going to come back and take him to the playoffs again.
Dude, you know what they're going to happen if Tyrod does take them to the playoffs? The same exact thing the Bills did.
Yeah, they're going to trade
Move
him.
him, bench him. Well, I guess they can't really bench him. That'd be kind of just an awkward
Or-
quarterback
yeah.
room at that point. But yeah, you just get rid of him. You don't take a guy number 1 overall to not play him. It's kind of like what the Chiefs did with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. Alex Smith
Yeah.
played really well. He had one of his best years of his career. Led him to the playoffs, and Oop, see you later. We're on to our next guy. So, yeah.
Tyrod's playing the whole season, though. I don't think anybody should get that. Unless he gets injured, he's playing all of 2018.
I agree. I don't remember who I was talking to, but, yeah, I think it's Tyrod's team right now. You'll see Mayfield at the end of the year if they've been eliminated, just to give him a little in-game NFL experience.
I think they win. I was looking at this Browns roster. If you go look it up, this is one of the most talented rosters, like literally one of the most talented rosters there is in football. Like, they could win 8 to 10 games. I honestly believe that.
I know. I don't want to say it too loud just because I don't.
I don't care. I'll throw it out there. They have a legitimate quarterback. And the best thing about Tyrod Taylor is his deep ball is the best part of his game, and he's got Josh Gordon. Like, that's where he kills it.
Right, he does. And that team, I'm going to talk about their playmakers in a little bit. Like you said, on paper, yeah, it's great. And the defense, we really don't even know what that defense is because they were always on the field, always playing from behind.
They were good last year, though. Especially their pass defense was really solid. They were a top – I think they were top half of the league in defense.
Yeah.
Like, they're not bad. They're just sucked on offense.
I agree, and I just looked real quick ahead to see which players we're going to talk about, and I noticed we're not going to talk about them passing on Bradley Chubb at number 4, but taking Denzel Ward. A lot of people were going crazy over that. Like, how do you pass on Chubb? Why are you taking Ward that high? I'm actually not opposed to that pick. Emmanuel Ogbah, he was a rookie last year. Rookie pass rushers aren't making an immediate impact right away. You got to let them grow. And Garrett and Ogbah are fine on the edge. Like Chubb, yeah, that would have been a nice guy to have. I like the idea of adding the cornerback there. So just jumping ahead as to that defense, I don't think it was a terrible idea to do that. But yeah, that team, I don't want to call them stacked because right now it's a lot of question marks as to how they're actually going to go. And Cleveland's won one game over the last 2 years. Everyone knows that stat. And now I don't want to say that they're going to increase their wins by 800%. Like,
I do.
That's too big of a number for me. But the franchise, they've just been stuck for like 2 decades. So radical change is needed. Baker Mayfield is that radical change. That's why I think it's a better pick than Darnold, because Darnold's just another prototypical quarterback. Mayfield, you got the swag, you've got the flash, you've got this guy with this chip on his shoulder. He's going to go out there, he's going to make things happen. I love the pick. I have no qualms about that. I don't even know what qualm means, but I have none of them.
No issues. You know, people say it's lazy to compare him to Johnny Manziel, but I don't think it is, honestly. I personally do not think that is a terrible comparison. That's what I see. I think he's one guy that's going to have to be moved around, and like he's not going to be your typical stand in the pocket, make plays. Like, you're going to have to roll him out, run play action, move him out of the pocket in order for him to have any type of success. And I just don't like that in a quarterback.
Well, I like that we're on opposite sides of the fence on this. It'll give us something to debate for hopefully years to come, because I don't.
And I'm not talking about attitude. Like, I don't care about the fucking attitude or personality or height. That does not bother. That will never be an argument of mine. If you've listened to any of the last 2-3 weeks or whatever, I've never said one thing about height or attitude for any of these guys.
Right. Nope, that's good, and I like that. If you're going to compare him to Manziel, not on the height and the attitude, based off the quarterback play, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's when you start talking about, like, oh, they're identical.
I think that's stupid. I don't care about that.
That I don't like. Well, let's jump to number 2. Obviously, the Giants took their running back, Saquon Barkley. I know you love Barkley. I'll let you jump into this.
So I think this is an amazing pick. I think he could have gone number 1. But I think if they believe – I don't believe Eli can QB for the next couple of years, but if they believe he could be the quarterback for a couple of years, at least adding Saquon and Odell can hide whatever deficiencies he may have. Because, I mean, Odell's been hiding Eli Manning's deficiencies for 5 years or so or whatever, just by catching the ball and then just doing his thing and bailing him out. Because, I mean, last year you saw what happened without Odell. Eli's just garbage. Even with Odell, he's garbage. But, like, Odell just takes him to a whole other level. So adding another guy to hide how bad he is, I mean, he's obviously not the worst quarterback in the NFL, but he's not good, and he's old. So I say they have him for a couple more years, grab a quarterback in a couple of years. I love this Saquon pick. It's just adding pieces around a quarterback they're going to grab in a year or two.
See, everything you just said is the exact reason why I don't like the pick. Yeah, Barkley's great. You bring up the best point about him is he's not just a running back. He's a guy that's going to be impactful out of the backfield. He's a playmaker. He's a football player. That's good. But everything that you just said about the offense and Eli Manning and just the total ineptness, another great word that I just made up, of that entire offense is why...
Ineptitude?
Sure. That's why you take Sam Darnold or you take Josh Rosen, because these franchise-changing quarterbacks don't just they don't just come around all that often. Running backs aren't the ones carrying these teams to the Super Bowl. So unless the Giants completely suck again next year, they won't be in the position to draft this high and to draft another quality quarterback, because next year's quarterback class, I took a look into it, it's nothing compared to this class. They're not going to
say that every year, and
again.
then these guys pop up out of nowhere. So you can't sit here and say that.
I just did.
But
literally.
Yeah, you can't though. You don't know these guys come out of nowhere. You can't say right now that the quarterback class is getting nothing, because there's going to be like 3 guys who just go out and dominate.
You meant to say that I shouldn't.
Yeah, well, whatever. But Saquon to me, Saquon's a guarantee. Like, he's guaranteed to be legitimate. None of these quarterbacks are guaranteed. They took their shot to get this guy, and then they can go grab and build a quarterback behind Eli at some other point. I would take the guy that's a lock, that's one of the best talents for years. I love the pick.
It's hard for me to sit here and totally disagree, because Saquon is that guy. But, man, this was the year. I can't be moved from that. When given the choice, I'm taking the quarterback. And you of all people, Mr. Green Bay Packers, Mr. Aaron Rodgers is the best thing. I pray to him when I go to bed, and I wake up and I look at his poster, and that's what gives me courage to get through the day. Like, there's no way that you're sitting here and saying that quarterback isn't the thing you need to focus on.
I think that gives me a better appreciation of how rare it is to get a great quarterback. So grab the talent around it. But they did draft a quarterback in round 4, Kyle Lauletta.
Yeah, they did. That's the same thing when they took like Davis Webb or whoever they got last year. Like,
Davis Webb.
See you later. That means nothing to me. Let's move on to a team that did take a top quarterback. Darnold fell to number 3, and the Jets gobbled him up. Thoughts on the pick?
I mean, it's what you had to do. I think it's kind of a steal. Everybody thought he was going first to Cleveland. In my opinion, he's the second best quarterback in this draft. I said what I said on Darnold already with Cleveland. Right. I don't have much more to say. I think this is a great pick. I feel bad for him that he has to play for the Jets.
Right, exactly that. I think, like you said, since he fell there, if it would have been him or Rosen, I'm fine with it either way. But he was clearly not the quarterback they wanted. They interviewed Todd Bowles, head coach, afterwards. They basically said, was he the guy all along? And
Todd Bowles doesn't know shit.
He sounds like a cartoon character. He wouldn't say that, Darnold's the guy. He would say, well, I'd rather not comment. That's the comment. You are telling the people that, no, we were there to get Mayfield, and he wasn't there. So I think it's a good pick, handled very poorly. What kind of confidence are you giving Darnold after something like that? And I'm like you, I like Darnold. He's fine. He projects to be a fine quarterback in the league, but man, now he goes to the Jets where quarterbacks go to just slowly die.
Yeah, it's a rough landing spot for him, especially with a team that wasn't. I don't know how they're not confident in this. I think that's a steal. Like, they could have a better situation laying in their lap at number 3.
I just feel like they were so set on Mayfield, and the day that they traded up. That's another reason. Unless you're trading up to number 1 or number 2, and I add number 2 in there, if a team is like announced or it's like a clearly obvious thing who they're taking number 1, why are you trading to 3? What are you doing?
Do you think the Browns just got coaxed into taking fucking Baker Mayfield because the Jets traded up to 3 for him, and they're like, why do they like him so much? Maybe we should take him too. Maybe that seems like the Browns move.
Maybe if the Browns,
even though it's all different management and stuff, but still,
right? Some things never change. Maybe if the move was, we'll take Barkley number 1 and Mayfield will slide to 4, then but
I'd be willing to bet money that the Jets and the Browns head coaches are not their head coaches next year. But Bowles and Hugh Jackson are both gone next
year. The Browns, like you said, if the Browns don't make significant strides here, he's got to go.
He should go anyways.
He should go anyways.
He should have been fired this last year.
Nice. Well, let's go on to the next one we want to talk about. Here's number 7. The Buffalo Bills traded up with Tampa, ended up selecting Josh Allen. So he went to top 10, but quarterback from Wyoming. Kick her off.
Who's their quarterback? A.J. McCarron right now?
Yep.
The Bills have no idea what the fuck they are doing. When they were traded out there, I was like, they took Rosen. This is a great trade. Yeah. They're about to get Josh Rosen. Awesome for the Bills. But you know what? I hate the Bills already because they let go of Tyrod Taylor. Like, why let go of Tyrod Taylor to bring in A.J. McCarron? I don't understand, one, if they're just going to grab a quarterback here at 7 anyways. Yeah. And then they go and fucking grab Josh Allen. It's It's bad. It's not good. Should have been Rosen. They made a mistake, and it's going to cost Buffalo. They're going to go from making the playoffs to 3 wins next year.
When Tampa was on the clock as a Dolphins fan and I saw the Bills go up, like immediately I'm like, shit. Bills are taking Rosen, the guy I want, and the Dolphins are going to end up with Josh Allen. So once the Bills took Josh Allen, basically the bar that I was at, everyone knew I was there because I just erupted with this excitement because, one, I hate Josh Allen. He's going to one of my least favorite teams, so the fit was just perfect, and that opened the door for the Dolphins to get Rosen, which we'll discuss here in a second. But yeah, I was pretty much certain that this was going to be Rosen, and I had talked about any team basically that ended up with Allen, because he was going to go in the top 10 first round, was going to be a bad pick, and I'm just thrilled that it was Buffalo. I hate the argument that weather in Buffalo, it's cold in Buffalo, we need a guy with a strong arm. That I don't like that. I don't think you can base a pick just on that. I'm not saying that's the reason why they took Allen at that spot.
He's got big hands for that cold weather and a good arm. But perfect.
I hate the pick. I'm not sure if they thought that the Dolphins or the Cardinals, like if Allen was their target, and that's why they moved up. But of the quarterbacks taken, I mean, Allen was going to be my biggest downfall, and the fact that he's going to Buffalo with limited playmakers, I guess we'll call him. I mean, Zay Jones is one of their best future potential, and that dude's running naked in hallways, kicking glass and shit. So, I don't know. That franchise is going the wrong way, in my correct opinion.
Yes.
Well, let's talk about Rosen, since we just previewed him, obviously. The Cardinals traded up to number 10 with the Raiders and selected your boy Josh Rosen out of UCLA.
Still the draft, hands down. Still of the draft. You know he's my number 1 quarterback. You know I love him because how he is and his relationship with Aaron Rodgers. My number 1 quarterback in the draft, and I agree with what he said. 9 other teams are going to regret not taking the next Aaron Rodgers, and that's Josh Rosen, the chosen one. All right. Once Bradford gets hurt this year in Game 3. He'll get a chance to play and develop. Preseason Game 3. He'll get a chance to play and develop with both David Johnson, and Christian Kirk, who's going to be learning from one of the all-time great wide receivers in Larry Fitzgerald.
I love those.
I really like the Cardinals' offensive future specifically. I think they have to build on that defense. Everybody, I think, still thinks in their head that their defense is great. They're not that good anymore. Patrick Peterson's getting older. I think they need to build that defense, but the offense has a great future there. So I'm excited for Rosen. I think he's going to develop some good weapons over the next couple of years via the draft. I know they're not going to win probably a lot of games this next year, which is, I think, good for them because they'll get to draft higher and develop some more guys.
Right. I love the pick here. I love the fit. You said steal the draft. I am totally on board with that. There is zero pressure on this guy from day one, outside of the pressure that he put on himself by calling out the other 9 teams or whatever.
Good.
And every analyst and former NFL player that's giving him shit for this, I personally think that they're wrong. Okay, there's been so many former players. I just walked into the TV a little while ago, and the guy was saying...
You walked into the TV?
I walked into it, man. It's no longer with us. I got to go to Best Buy after this and get a new TV. It was 3D. I thought I could fit.
I was going to say, I thought you had some futuristic TV we didn't know about that you just went right into it, fucker.
That's how I roll.
Christ.
I forgot which player it was, but he said, back in my day, if a player was like this, we'd knock him right out. I want to literally, that's why I wanted to jump into the TV and say, who said this? Who did you knock out? You couldn't name a player. That guy's lying. He's pissed off that he said this. It means nothing. And Rosen later said, okay, it was 3 teams that made a mistake, the ones that took the quarterbacks. I look zero into what he said. 1, because he's right, and 2, because who gives a shit? It's just words. That's not going to be in his head while he's playing the game whatsoever.
It's the same exact attitude, but this is the same attitude Aaron Rodgers had, and people said the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. And you know what? I was watching that draft, just realized that they drafted Brian Braum in that draft, and both McShay and I can't remember who it was, but Brian Braum would be the starting quarterback in the next couple of years over Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I remember that. And one last thing I was going to say about Rosen, that dude should be ecstatic. He's not going to Buffalo. He's not going to New York. He's not going to Cleveland. He fell in an
Arizona.
ideal location. Love it.
Like
Love the pick.
that's like a destination spot. Like Miami, LA, and fucking Arizona. That's like a sneaky great destination.
Right. Oh, I love the fact that you brought the sneaky word back. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it.
With that, let's go to the next pick. The Miami Dolphins with Rosen
Yeah.
off the board select Minka Fitzpatrick.
You didn't put this on here originally, and I don't understand
I
why.
don't wanna
You gotta
talk
have the
about it.
Dolphins on here. But I just needed to know how you felt when the Cardinals traded in front of the Dolphins and knew exactly what they were about to do.
Well, once it came down to that run of picks where all the teams had the quarterback, I just said the only thing that's going to scare me here is when I see that Arizona name pop up as a trade
Yeah.
on the TV, and that's literally what happened. And I wish we would have done our live Twitter as that happened, because like I went from the highest of highs, like there's not a drug in the world that can get me this high, to the lowest of lows, where it was just like, dude, it's over. Like I didn't know what they were gonna do. So the fact that they ended up still getting Fitzpatrick, cool with the pick, confused
Yeah.
with the fit, because they already have two safeties that prefer to play in the box, and I kind of feel like that's where Fitzpatrick would thrive the most, because he's such a good and sure tackler. And one thing I'll say before I let you jump in, word on the street from the beat reporters, and I think they're fed bullshit a lot.
Mm-hmm.
If apparently, let's say that Arizona wouldn't have jumped up and taken Rosen, if Rosen and Fitzpatrick would have been on the board, they're claiming that Fitzpatrick would have been the pick because they were going to go best player available and they were just going to take that. Now, what I think
Yeah, I believe that.
I think that's the opposite of what the Jets did. The Dolphins lied where the
Yeah.
Jets should have while talking about their quarterback. I think it's bullshit. I think they'd have taken Rosen. But with Fitzpatrick, yeah, I mean, that's the future of the secondary. I can't hate the pick by any means.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick, I don't care that they have safeties. I mean, you can move him and move him around everywhere. That's kind of like what the Packers did with Josh Jones. Like, they had two safeties, but they took him and they played him all over the place. And, like, he was really just a contingency plan for basically Morgan Burnett. So that could be the same situation
Right.
here. What was I going to say on this? Oh, when did Roquan Smith get taken before in the top 10? Trying to remember.
Roquan was gone. Yes.
Yeah. So I thought so, because I think that was the thing that hurt you the most, is that Roquan Smith got taken before 10. And if you would have been there at the Raiders, they would have taken him. I think that would have gave you the chance to have Rosen at 11. I think that was the biggest
Right.
domino to fall there.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I think he would have been the pick. But yeah, Fitzpatrick, I mean, some people had him mocked as early as 4 to the Browns early when this process started. So can't hate the pick. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
All right,
That's a good
the Saints traded up to number 14 with the Packers and ended up selecting Marcus Davenport. When this trade happened, everyone was like, well, here comes the contingency plan to Breeze, and they went
Yeah.
with the edge rusher.
See, I didn't get this pick at all. When they traded for it, I thought either Derwin James
Yep.
or the backup quarterback, whoever it was going to
Lamar
be, I guess,
Jackson at that
Lamar
point,
Jackson. But I just don't know why they would move up to take Marcus Davenport. I know I didn't watch highlights of him, but from everything I've seen, he might have been maybe the most overrated guy in this first round, or like prospect to go in the first round. I think he could have dropped to like 27. I didn't think they needed to move up to 14 to go and get this guy who potentially could end up to be nothing. I think he has a lot of raw work to do, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the lack of quality edge rushers once Chubb's off the board bumped Davenport up in this draft. If this had been your typical draft where we've seen edge rushers just galore in the first round, yeah, Davenport would have been a little bit lower. But yeah, he was bumped up to this point, and maybe the Saints couldn't find a trade partner a little bit lower. And Green Bay's kind of known, despite having a new front office, they're kind of known for dealing picks and trading back anyway. So good fit. They gave up a ton. They gave up a first rounder for next year.
Yeah, it was awesome. It worked out really well for Green Bay.
Oh.
It was probably one of the best moves I've seen Green Bay ever make that round.
Because Green Bay still lands one of the top corners in the draft, and they get a first rounder for next year, and it only costs
Guy
them
they
a
were going
third
to take
rounder.
anyways. That's who they were looking at 14 anyways.
Right. Yeah, that's insane. And
Yeah.
if the Saints are in win now mode, which I don't know why they wouldn't be, because
They are.
their defense took a nice step forward. They've got Drew Brees. They didn't take a back quarterback. It's a really weird pick because I said this earlier, you don't see edge rushers outside of like J.J. Watt and Von Miller come in and like be like an 8 to 12 sack guy. If you get 5 sacks out of a rookie edge rusher, that's a significant impact. I know Derek Barnett made like a pretty big play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that's one play. I don't think you can bank on a guy just biggest game of my career. He's going to make a huge play. So I know that it has been done. I wanted to say that just in case someone would be like, oh, Derek Barnett was a rookie edge rusher and he made a huge play in the Super Bowl. That's an outlier. I mean, that's an outlying situation. So maybe it works out. But when the trade happened, I was instantly just thinking quarterback.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't thinking quarterback just for the fact that they're in win now mode.
Right.
Why go in the first round? Sorry.
Jeez, you okay? A little choked up about this pick. I like how DJ hit the cough button, but he hit it a little too late.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it to come out of there, but it kept going. Fuck it, just move on to the next one.
The next one on our list. Number 26, Atlanta Falcons selected Calvin Ridley, wide receiver out of Bama.
Go ahead.
You want me to go? All right, I love the pick. And I especially love the pick while Julio is still playing there because of reasons that I'm sure that you're going to talk about with Julio Jones. But Calvin Ridley is going to go into a place where he can just step in as the slot receiver. He's going to be going up against a less quality defender because of guys like Julio Jones. And with that combination, along with being the best route runner in that class and still having good speed and hands to go with it, I love the pick. I'm targeting him in Dynasty, and he is my pick to lead all rookie receivers in catches, yards, and maybe even touchdowns because Matt Ryan is going to probably continue to ignore Julio Jones anyways, so really might outscore him. You never know.
Everybody's way too excited about this
I am.
Calvin Ridley pick. When Matt Ryan's proven over and over again to just to disappoint you, and he's just going to ruin another Alabama wide receiver.
Don't you talk
I mean,
like that.
That's all it comes down to. This doesn't get me excited. I'm not excited about this. They still have Mohamed Sanu there. He's still going to be dealing with that. And here comes this shit that I say every year for all you fantasy guys that love fucking rookie wide receivers going into the year. It almost never turns out to be a good year for rookie wide receivers. Always have a tough time in their first year. And go back and look like the last 5 years at rookie wide receivers. It's just not good performances when it comes to fantasy. To your fantasy team. Don't get excited about this. Just wait, temper expectations, because this is like the biggest flaw in I think fantasy owners. They get really excited about these rookie wide receivers on decent teams.
And I think it's because of the boom and the influx in fantasy over the last 5-10 years that we saw that draft class with Odell Beckham and Mike Evans and Landry step in as rookies and make impact. And now we're like, oh, rookie receiver, they're going to break out.
Yeah.
You're totally right. Don't base your fantasy on this one receiver, especially a guy that's playing on the same team with Julio, because Julio's still going to get the targets. He just might not get the touchdowns. So I agree with you to that point, but I couldn't think of a better situation, maybe outside of Green Bay, for Calvin Ridley to just step in and be able to contribute from day one. That's why I like the pick so much.
Ugh, I just think everybody's getting a little bit too excited a little bit too early.
What if Green Bay would have taken him? Would you have liked him then?
Yeah, well, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is not Matt Ryan. That's huge because he would actually be the number 2 wide receiver in Green Bay if he came there. And yeah, in Atlanta they have way more weapons. He still has Mohamed Sanu, who Matt Ryan trusts. Obviously, Julio Jones is going to get a ton of targets. Tevin Coleman is going to run around playing the slot, getting the carries, and then Devontae Freeman's going to be getting the ball a lot. There's not enough balls to go around for Calvin Ridley to have a good year.
Yeah, there's a lot of playmakers on that offense, but that helps with maybe not fantasy wise, but just defensive scheming and everything. So I like the fit from that standpoint as well. Let's bump ahead to the pick that made us wonder if the front office had been boozing since last week Thursday.
They quit.
The Seattle Seahawks at number 7. Shocked the world. Took Rashad Penny, running back out of San Diego State. What the fuck were they doing?
I don't know. Worst pick of the first round, and it's not even close.
Word.
I hate the Josh Allen pick, but at least they went for a QB to try to fucking change their franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Because we could be dead wrong on Josh Allen. This is terrible. This is not a good pick. There are 6 other running backs that should have been taken ahead of Rashad Penny here. I don't think they're wrong for taking a running back. I just think they're wrong for the running back that they took, and I don't even think it's close. Seattle's going to finish last in NFC West this year.
Oh my gosh.
That's my prediction. Book it.
it's hard to imagine him finishing any better. I mean, if this is the target, if this is the guy that you wanted, you have to at least, and I don't know if they did or not, but I'm just recklessly speculating or saying that you need to try to trade back and then try to land him, especially with the number of holes that this team has. Get as many draft picks as you possibly can. You need to try to trade out. They should have traded out.
Yeah, they need 100 offensive linemen.
Exactly. And Will Hernandez was still on the board.
Yep.
Like, at least go for him. And then later you can get Penny. Like, trade out. It wasn't all that long ago where we look at Seattle and we're like, oh my God, this team is set for years. They have a great defense. They have an up-and-coming quarterback. But now we have a completely different defense and Wilson, but then no threat of outside targets without a tight end, no one outside of Baldwin, and you have a mix of average running backs, and you just threw in another one. I have Wilson in my initial fantasy rankings as number 2. If you can't see me right now, which I know you can't because this is a podcast, I'm giving this 2 thumbs down. There's no way that he's keeping at number 2. I'm dropping him big time.
Yeah, I won't draft him this year.
No, it's a good player.
I don't ever do it. I have like a hate for him anyway, so I just...
Yeah, I don't like him.
But this helps.
I mean, unless he drops like significantly because everyone has the same feelings, maybe you get a value pick out of him. But yeah, he's definitely dropping. I'm not keeping him.
Where we are in the state of Wisconsin, he's going to get drafted well before us, and it's going to be nice.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes the where your parents conceived you helps in fantasy.
It works out. Yeah, it does.
Let's go to the last pick of the first round. The Ravens traded back up with the Eagles and took Lamar Jackson out of Louisville.
Actually, that was a flawed statement because I was actually conceived in Lincoln, Nebraska, and born in La Crosse. So suck it. That's got weird. My mom had sex in Lincoln, and then born me in La Crosse.
That's funny. I've had sex in
Thinking
Lincoln
about my mom having sex. Yeah. All right, that got weird. All right, well, I'm not really sure how I feel about Lamar Jackson. This is gonna be a boring take. I don't have much to say on this. I'm more excited how to see how it plays out when Flacco gets benched and then RG3 gets to play and then RG3 gets hurt and then who do they put in the game? Or like who do they play after that game? Like that's what I'm more excited about.
Well, that's Lamar Jackson, right?
I don't know. I just can't wait for the drama. I love the drama in the NFL. That's going to be something. Like Baltimore's so boring every year. They're finally going to be a little bit more fun with this whole situation going on there.
You can't buy a new toy, and then not use it. So I almost feel like even if Flacco's playing, I can see Lamar Jackson getting some snaps this year, just in like a weird package where they just throw him in and let him maybe even just try to run the ball. So, yeah, I think he's going to be the new shiny toy that they just try to work in. I wasn't a huge fan of Jackson just from the get-go going into the draft. So I'm okay with the fit here once again just because, like Cleveland, that offense has just been so stale. Like you said, Baltimore might be the most boring team to watch. Like over the ever since the Ravens got out of that little stint they were in where they making the playoffs and won the Super Bowl, their offense has just been so lackluster. You don't even want to watch their games. Lamar Jackson is the complete change to what they're currently doing. So I can't hate the pick just because I think a drastic change was needed. And yeah, you might as well get a guy like Lamar Jackson. Like I said, I don't have much else to say about that too. I could see him getting some meaningful snaps already in year one.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard a guy asked him if he'd be okay with playing wide receiver.
For real?
after they moved up to draft him for fucking quarterback.
How funny is
what
that?
An idiot.
Move up, change positions while you're at it.
Yeah, fucking retards. Yeah, let's move up to take a goddamn
converted
quarterback in the right. Move into wide receiver and take him in the first round. Smart.
All right. Let's go on to day 2, second and third rounds. At number 35, the Browns got another running back, added Nick Chubb out of Georgia.
I don't particularly like this pick. You talked about it. I didn't get a chance to talk about this yet. I'm not a fan of this pick. I personally think Carlos Hyde is much better than Chubb. Hyde is 27, so he's got a couple good years left, I think, in him. They can add a running back at any time over the next couple of years. It's just at this point, where they were at, I didn't really like that pick. I think they should have considered adding more depth at the O-line, which they did draft an O-lineman, or the defensive line, personally.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way. You're right, though, because if you wanted to just play out Hyde for this last, 2, prime years, yeah, you're going to have another running back the way that the NFL draft works now, where you can get a quality guy in day 2, day 3.
Really good guy, yeah.
You didn't really need to take Chubb here. I guess I'm fine with the pick. I don't mind the pairing with Hyde. It's not like they're going to be like relying on Chubb to tote the rock and just add more miles to him. So I think they could keep each other fresh. So I don't mind the pick there. But dude, you're looking at an offense, maybe not year one, but in year two, with the potential of having Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Carlos Hyde, Nick Chubb, Josh Gordon, and Antonio Callaway, a guy they took a flyer on in day 3. That's quite a few risks, but really high rewards. So that's kind of bringing it back to where we started with you talking about Baker Mayfield. That offense on paper, if that somehow pans out, I'd like that core group of guys.
Yeah, I was surprised Mo Hurst took so long, but I guess maybe that heart issue he has is actually a big deal to all these guys.
Where the hell did that come from?
Well, I just, because of defensive line, I thought that would be a potential pick at that spot.
Did you fast forward in this podcast? Are we talking? Oh, okay.
What we're talking?
You're talking about?
No, we're talking about Cleveland. I'm surprised instead of taking, I thought that would be a pick there, but he dropped so far.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm back on the same page.
Yeah, I just thought he would be a good spot there to add to the defensive line, but I think his heart issue is actual.
The same way that I walked into the TV earlier, I thought you stepped into the future, and we were already talking about Oakland's pick. I was like, "How did you?"
Oh no, I didn't even know. No, I was literally talking about him for Cleveland.
Oh.
I thought that would be a potential pick there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's keep booking through these ones. At 38, the Buccaneers took Ronald Jones, kind of another surprise pick with Geis on the board, the running back out of USC. What are your thoughts about Ronald Jones?
I don't have much. I didn't watch a lot of video on Ronald Jones this offseason. They needed a running back.
Yep.
They definitely need a running back. I'm not sure that Ronald Jones is the answer, but they needed to address the position. And if he's somebody, I'm not going to judge him one way or the other because he's not one person that I scouted. If it's somebody they liked, then good for them. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Bad analysis.
Well, I think it fit the need, like you said.
Yeah.
But I think that they could have went a different direction because I feel with that position, the guy that they're missing would be a guy that can handle more carries. I don't see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't see Jones as that guy. I see Darius Geis as that guy. I see Ronald Jones as more of the luxury pick. And I think at the end of the day, you're going to end up regretting taking Jones here, who, he's going to have flash plays. That's what he does. He's kind of like that mini Reggie Bush. But he's not going to be the guy that you're relying on for 20 touches a game. And I just think they regret not taking Geis, who we'll talk about here in a second. But I really thought that was going to be the pick. I love that they took running back. I think they took the wrong running back.
Yeah, I still think someone else like Kerryon Johnson could have been better there, or like you said, Geis, who I don't really like, but it just doesn't seem like a guy who's going to be a guy you rely on like they did on Doug Martin, at least for 1 or 2 years there.
Yeah. Another guy who slipped. Some people had him as their first ranked receiver. He ended up going 40 to the Broncos. Cortland Sutton, receiver out of SMU. What were your thoughts about that pick?
This is another pick I'm not 100% understanding why they made this pick. I guess Demaryius Thomas won't be there probably too much longer, so that could be a potential replacement for him. Or they're just trying to set up Keenum, give him the opportunity to have more success by building more weapons around him, now that they've added kind of that scary defensive prospect again with Chubb on one side, Von Miller on the other, kind of building around Keenum a little bit to give him another weapon or two. So, I don't know. It's tough to say one way or another with the wide receivers they have there, but I mean Sanders and Demaryius Thomas are getting up there, so I don't entirely hate it. I'm just going to be curious to see how he fits in.
I think I need to say a couple nice things about Cortland Sutton so that lady doesn't try to attack me on Twitter again.
Yeah.
So I'll start with this. If there was a place where Sutton could land where I actually don't mind his fantasy value, it'd be Denver. I know, like you said, I'm not going to jump out of my seat to draft him if he's available because of the whole rookie receiver thing.
Yep.
But
and Keenum.
But I don't mind Keenum. He's whatever.
Yeah, I still am
guy.
not on the Case Keenum trade.
I'm kind of with you. I'll get to why I'm with you here in a second because I think Denver really kind of sucked last year because of the fact that they just didn't have a quarterback. And Keenum is clearly better than what they had. And if he can stay healthy and play just kind of similar to how we did last year, that's going to obviously just be a boost to that offense. And I think the offense can take a big step. The defense is going to be more fresh. That was still a good defense. They just were on the field all the time. They were playing from down double digits the whole time. So they couldn't really just play to their strengths, which was getting to the passer and then relying on those cornerbacks to make plays. Teams could just run all day on them, so it didn't matter. So I think you draft Sutton now with the future in mind. He can be your number one in the future. I really wish that Denver would have addressed quarterback with Rose, and I'm still on the board at number 5. I don't get that.
Yeah. I don't understand it either.
I was sort of shocked by that. That's the pick with Denver that I'm
and they were going to trade that pick, though, but when Chubb fell to them, they had to do it. So, and they loved him there, so.
Yeah, so that's kind of my take, I guess, on Sutton. Jesus.
Cortland.
Let's go to number 43. The Detroit Lions took Kerryon Johnson. He went a little earlier than I thought. I thought the team was going to get more value with him. But what were your thoughts on the Lions taking Kerryon Johnson at number 43?
I don't like it at all. They got Amir Abdullah. Not a fan. This just goes back to my they're adding a position that they don't value, that they don't use. Like, everybody talks about their run game and they need to get a running back. No, they just need to focus more on running the ball. They just don't care. They'd much rather throw the ball with Matt Stafford every fucking down and run it once every, 8 snaps. So I don't know. Maybe they'll focus more on running the ball and they think Kerryon Johnson's a better guy to do that. I just think they need to focus more on running the ball in general, and they do probably need some running back depth. I'll say that, because Zach Zenner and a combination of having Riddick and Abdullah are basically like the same type of guy, just aren't going to kind of cut it. So maybe adding some running back depth isn't going to hurt them. I think it's more
scheme.
They could use Abdullah in Riddick's spot, get rid of Riddick, and not have Zach Zenner there, and kind of maybe use Abdullah and Kerryon Johnson to their advantage.
My take is sort of a blend into yours, because I like the fit of Kerryon Johnson in Detroit. If you can pair him with LeGarrette Blount, who can also be a guy that just relies on for carry, short yardage kind of guy. So you have Kerryon Johnson, who might not get a ton of work because of Blount and because of what you said.
I forgot about Blount.
How the Lions scheme and play. They just love to throw the ball. So when Kerryon Johnson's in, I think he's going to be fresh. I think he's going to be effective. What I think it does is it spells the end of the whole Abdullah Riddick thing. So, which could be freeing to dynasty owners who have Abdullah. I don't know if he never really panned out as to what his potential could be. So maybe he lands in a different situation and it works out in a year or two. So I don't mind it. But more so than anything, I think exactly bleeding into what you said, let Kerryon Johnson and LeGarrette Blount carry some of that load. And at the end of the day, it makes Stafford more impactful because he's not throwing the ball all the time and the defense isn't being able to predict quite as well what they're trying to do on offense. So, yeah, I love Kerryon Johnson. He was my running back that I would want from this draft. But it's a combination of what you said. Pick those guys and don't ignore them. You picked a position of need that you don't use, that you don't utilize. So, why are you making that pick? Maybe this is the change. Maybe this is the year that they decide to do something about it. But, until I see it with my own two eyes, love the fit if they kind of change up how they want to play offense.
They did draft a center with their first pick, and they drafted an offensive tackle, that Crosby, that I've seen some people are kind of high on out of Oregon. So they are clearly trying to address that offensive line, and they added a running back. So maybe Jim Bob Cooter is going to focus on running the ball a little bit more and taking some pressure off of Stafford.
Yeah, change it up a little bit. Maybe how they kind of saw the Saints. The Saints used to always love to pass the ball, and then last year they kind of just changed over their philosophy.
I just wanted to say Jim Bob Cooter, to be honest.
I'm glad you worked that in.
Yeah, I had to.
Let's go into number 45. The Green Bay Packers got there. They doubled down on corner, taking Josh Jackson out of Iowa. I'll let you speak this because I sort of feel like I'm going to echo what you say.
Oh, I love this pick, right? I wanted this guy in the first round. I said on my mock draft, I've talked about it multiple times, I wanted Josh Jackson at number 14.
Right.
So they got 2 cornerbacks in the first 2 rounds, position that they absolutely needed to address, 100%. And I honestly believe the Packers just went from one of the worst secondaries to a top 10, one of the best secondaries in the league with just those 2 picks. They've got the combination now of Kevin King. They got
All right, Kevin King. DJ froze while saying the word Kevin King, so I'll let you pick up from there.
So what I was trying to say is I think that they legitimately can have like a top 10 secondary this year, a nice bounce back year similar to the Saints. They now have Kevin King, Jair Alexander, and Josh Jackson, which I love as far as the young cornerbacks goes. Their potential is it's the ceiling is the roof, honestly. So people are saying that I think lots of people are saying Jackson will be the outside cornerback, Alexander will be in the slot, but I personally think it's going to be the opposite. Whoop, computer's still updating. I think Jackson has those instincts where he has the instincts. He plays the ball, where he can and he jams wide receivers at the line, and he loves to hit and mix it up and get in there and tackle guys. So putting him, I think, close to the line of scrimmage, closer to the ball, and giving him the opportunity to make plays in slots. The slot is a position where the ball has to get out quicker. So a guy that's going to make plays on the ball and watch the quarterback and the ball, I think, is better off in the slot position, where I think Alexander, with his speed, how he plays wide receivers, he also has good instincts, but he has that speed to keep up with these top guys, would be better in the outside position. I mean, Kevin King more than likely is going to be on the number one guy outside no matter what. So you put Alexander on the opposite against their next best guy. I really like that combination. That combination of King, Alexander, and Jackson with those young guys, I think, is going to be lethal. It's all about the pass rush. If you can't pass rush and get there, the best cornerback is going to have troubles covering for 5 seconds. So they need to, hopefully, Nick Perry doesn't have to get a fucking cast on his arm, and Clay Matthews doesn't suck, and they can develop a couple young pass rushers, but we'll see.
Yeah, I love the idea of doubling down at corner. You watch any Packers game, and on defense, they stink against the pass. So they did exactly what they had to do, and I think they go into that knowing that you're not going to get an immediate return on investment. I don't think the change is going to happen overnight.
I do.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
Saints.
Oh, well. But you're talking about Kevin King, who he had injury problems. He didn't play the entire
shoulder
year.
problems.
And then you've got 2 new rookies that you're just going to step in. So that's not call them 3 rookies, but they basically, at the equivalent is, there's going to be challenges. You're talking about Jackson, who's that corner who, if he does play, he's going to make his plays. He's that Marcus Peters where he's going to force turnovers, but then he's also going to get beat on a few plays. And
that's why I think he fits better in the slot.
I hear what you're saying. I can't disagree with that. It's just I think there's going to be growing pains. But I think with an offense like the Packers, if Rodgers is back, he's healthy, and they click, it's something you can live with. I mean, you're going to score points. You're going to give up some points.
100%.
That's fine. So, it's the pick they had to do. And, you're not surrounding Rodgers with talent. You're not making the offense, better by obviously making that pick. But you're providing him with he's going to be there for years, and by the time that he's still in his prime, he's still doing good. The defense is going to get better, and in return, it's gonna help him. So it sounds weird to say that you're helping out Rodgers by selecting a defensive guy, but you really are.
100%, he's the winner.
So I like that. Like I said, I can't really add too much more.
Rodgers has to be happy. Let's say that.
I would think so.
Cleveland up 2 going into the fourth quarter.
All right, update. LeBron James is going to have to put a team on his back again.
Team on his back, though.
Let's go to Geis, who slid to number 59 with the Washington racial slurs. I wish we had old Zach Hicks on to talk about this one, but because I feel like he'd be
comment on his Twitter. I don't know if you saw that the other day.
No, I didn't see that.
He said the Washington Redskins, and I replied. I said, "Your language is offensive."
Nice, well timed. Well timed. Go ahead and let us know what you think about Geis there.
This was a huge drop for Geis, but I don't think a huge surprise. Obviously, I guess you didn't know much about it. I don't know where you were. But there's lots of character concerns, apparently. Lots of character concerns here for Geis. And it just seems to me like a Washington pick. There's rumors he's fighting with the Eagles, right? They were in a shouting match in some pre-draft visits.
That's cool.
And then
you're just yelling at the people that you're meeting with? All right, see you later.
Rumors that he's lazy. It was lazy. Rumors that he made up that he got asked a question about his sexual preferences, like whether he likes guys or girls and stuff like that. Sounds like he's making up a lot of shit. But he's going to a place with horrible ownership and a team that's destined to win 5 games. This is destined to blow up in everybody's face.
It might. I didn't think about that take, but it might.
This is going to just blow up. He's got character concerns. He's probably going to end up freaking out. somehow getting kicked off the team. It's going to be amazing. I think he's going to have big time issues in Washington here.
I'm gonna go. That's fine. I like the take. It's a good. It's a nice humor take. I'm gonna.
I'm serious.
My analysis is gonna be based on nothing blowing up, the world not ending, and guys panning out fine, which in my opinion puts an end to the mess at the running back position for Washington because Samaje Perine was given opportunities and he never stepped up. And I really think that the future of that position is the combo of Geis and Chris Thompson if they can end up keeping Chris Thompson, because we saw what he did when he was given opportunities. And now you bring Alex Smith into the mold, who loves to check down. Chris Thompson's going to catch a ton of balls. He's going to be a great change of pace guy. And Geis is that guy who can be more of the workhorse. So I like the fit. I don't want to say it's a blessing in disguise that he fell, because I think there are other teams that he would have fit with, obviously, that passed on him before the Redskins ended up taking him. But I like him, and he's a huge target for me in Dynasty League. He's my pick right now as one of my guys for Offensive Rookie of the Year with Alex Smith playing quarterback. I mean, he loves running the ball. He loves checking it down. He's going to get opportunities if everything that you said doesn't happen.
Yeah, zero chance.
Let's go on to one of the quarterbacks that fell. A lot of people loved Mason Rudolph, especially when he didn't go in the first round. Thought he'd be an early pick in the third round, but he ended up slipping to number 76 and went to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
You know, I think that Geis is going to be, I'm going back 1 second, he's going to be not Offensive Rookie of the Year, but the most offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah, so he keeps talking about sexual preference.
Yeah, he's going to offend some people. All right.
In Washington, D.C.
Right. Him and Trump are going to. All right. So, when it comes to Mason Rudolph here, Pittsburgh, I actually love this pick. I think it's kind of like sending Roethlisberger a message that if he keeps threatening to retire, then we're going to develop a QB behind you right now. I'm sure he's going to be salty about it. Big Ben's a big bitch. That's all I got. That's all I have about it. He's going to be salty. He's going to be like Favre. Like, I'm not going to develop this guy. Nothing says that I have to develop Mason Rudolph like behind him. He's going to be a bitch about it, and then he's going to threaten again, and they'll be like, fine, that's why we drafted this guy. I love the pick.
It is interesting when a quarterback has like that Hall of Fame career and then you bring in a young guy. It's like, how do they take it? They probably know deep in the back of their mind that, yeah, the franchise is looking for the future. It's not like it was a first rounder, so that probably helps. But yeah, is that quarterback going to say, it's not my job to develop this quarterback? That's your job. But if Roethlisberger thinks about it in the big picture, let's say Roethlisberger gets hurt week 14 and they need to make a playoff push and you need to bring in a guy. Well, yeah, and he comes back for the playoffs. My hypothetical here is Roethlisberger misses 3 weeks. Yeah. And you need that guy to help your team get to the next level. Well, yeah, maybe you should have helped Mason Rudolph off a little bit more so that he could carry your team in those games that you miss. So I hope Roethlisberger sees the big picture and doesn't do what you're saying. I think the biggest concern about Rudolph on the field was the whole he kind of stays in the pocket and he doesn't have that escapability. Well, boom, collision course with Ben Roethlisberger, who does the same exact thing. He just kind of shrugs people off and gets by having the best pump fake in the history of the NFL.
Yep.
But I think with Rudolph, you're getting a little bit of time to develop. You're pairing him with a former teammate in James Washington. I love that pick.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I support the number 76 pick. Steelers could have addressed a different need probably to help them now. But I know you've said in podcasts before, Roethlisberger gets hurt every year. Quarterback probably is a position of need.
Yeah.
So I like it. I'm a fan of the pick.
All right. Should we quick hit these last ones?
Yeah, let's kind of rapid fire
quick
day
hitters.
3 here. Oakland, you're a good boy. Maurice Hurst.
Well, I already talked about him. Great pick for the Raiders, honestly, because what does it hurt? You're getting a great value out of a guy who could be a star, and if he doesn't and it ends up affecting him, lots of guys that get picked this late don't make the team anyways. You're getting a potential second round value in the third or fourth round, whatever it was, third round.
Bingo. We've seen some guys who've had these heart issues, and they kind of do derail their careers, I guess, at some levels. But what if that heart issue never comes up and it never ends up being a thing? You're getting a guy who was slated to go late first round, early second anyways. So big slide, heart condition.
Fifth round.
Worth the risk. Yeah, he was...
that's a great pick. Yeah,
really good pick there. Let's go on to the kind of the highlight of day 3 with Shaquem Griffin, linebacker out of UCF, Pairing with his brother, number 141 in Seattle.
Good story. Be interesting to see how if the one arm thing does affect him,
Right.
especially with the linemen who can get hands on you a little better than guys in college. I hope he is successful.
Yeah,
I'm excited to watch him.
I have no idea how to try to project or predict this guy's
Yeah.
impact. Honestly, I have no idea. But I'm here. I'm here to witness it. I can't wait to watch and see how this goes down.
Yeah.
With just the way he held his own at UCF against decent competition, but he came into the bowl game against one of the best in the SEC and just tore it up. He tears up the combine. Everything about him that you read or hear is just so positive. So, yeah, I'm cheering for him. I think it'd be pretty cool if he can, make the team and then play with his brother for a while and actually make an impact. That'd be awesome. We'll finish up with one last guy because it's a guy that I was high on at least. John Kelly going into the draft. Some people thought with his combine numbers and just kind of how he tested that he might slide. Well, he did. He slid to 176 to the Rams. Any thoughts on John Kelly?
I don't hate this pick, though, because I think the Rams purposely grabbed a guy that they can use similar to Gurley if Gurley were to go down. They need to have a guy, because the way they use Gurley now is they actually use him catching the ball in the backfield. That's another reason why he was so successful.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can use Kelly that way if that's a worst-case scenario, Gurley gets injured. So they got someone very similar that they think can do the same type of things that he does. That's about it.
Yeah, I was a big fan of John Kelly. We talked on it. I think that was the podcast we did with Elliot Christ, where I think I compared John Kelly to having the ball in his hands like Jarvis Landry. Like, he doesn't go down.
Yeah.
He just finds ways to either make people miss or he's got just a violent stiff arm and he just never
Yeah,
goes
he
down.
runs fucking hard, though, huh?
Yeah, he does. And I just liked him as a prospect.
Watch highlights of him against Florida that you,
Yeah, don't do
you
that.
talked about it. He
Don't
just
do it.
ran over those fuckers.
Oh, that was a
He was
nightmare
just
game.
running through dudes.
He looked like a first-round running back in that
Yeah,
game. It was
it was.
ridiculous.
He was catching the ball, so was.
Yeah, but I mean, going to the Rams, instant reaction is it kind of kills his fantasy value because the Rams are going to lean on Gurley. But I see it more as if you have Gurley, John Kelly, he's a great handcuff to have. Or, I mean, later in the year if he doesn't get drafted, that's a great free agent kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I don't know that you're really taking a backup running back with the Rams, and I don't know how he's going to project on the depth chart. We got to go through the entire offseason and training camp and preseason to really get a better handle on that. But just kind of instant reaction, I see him more of like a handcuff play right now. But I'm fine with the pick.
I think that's what the Rams see him as, though. I think that's 100% why they drafted him.
Yeah, as the actual running back handcuff, not fantasy.
Yeah, actual handcuff.
Yeah, I like it. So, do you have any other people you want to hit on?
No, not really. So Tanner Lee got drafted by the Jaguars.
And with that,
Blake
let's
Bortles
close it out.
and Tanner Lee, I love that.
Tanner Lee is going to close out every podcast from now on. We're going to give you weekly updates on the status of
Blake
Tanner
Bortles
Lee.
and Tanner Lee.
Oh
what a hell of
my God.
what a hell of a fucking
What a
combination out
duo
there.
that is.
Jacksonville, I love it. Tanner Lee sucks.
Well, with that, let's wrap this puppy up. Follow us on Twitter at LoadedBox. Check out our website, loadedboxpodcast.wordpress.com. Latest blogs, podcasts, fantasy rankings. We'll be back with another episode at some point because we never let you down. We're available on iTunes. Search Loaded Box, subscribe, rate, and review. And DJ will wrap up the 2018 NFL Draft Podcast by you saying goodbye.
Bye.
Good.